So let me start out by, to make it, to be a little bit more polite and respectful, let me, instead of calling this a truth, that your trading is in a mess, let me put it to you as in the form of a question. Is your trading in a mess? Is it? Now, what does that mean? Your trading is in a mess. Well, let me ask you this. Are you able to execute your trading plan on a consistent basis? Do you experience confusion, chaos, internal conflict during the day? Do you ever have blowout days, like days where you lose way more than you should have? Are you up one week, down the next, up one day, down the next? Is there a gap between your skill level and the results that you're getting? Unfortunately, if the answer is yes to any of these questions, then honestly, your trading is in a mess. And I know nobody likes to hear that, but that's why you're here. Otherwise, you wouldn't be here, right? So the good thing, and this is also the truth, is, and before you get all upset with me for saying your trading is in a mess, the honest truth is there's probably nothing wrong with you. Your trading is not necessarily a reflection of your mental capacity. It isn't. It's a reflection of your belief system. Okay? So we're getting a little bit deeper already. Yeah? So, and in the beginning, instead of examining my beliefs when I first started trading, I thought there was something wrong with me. Meaning I thought I wasn't good enough or smart enough to be a successful trader. But what I found is, if you have common sense and you're a rational human being, 99% of the time, you're smart enough to be a trader, a successful trader. Anyone honestly can be a trader. It's pretty simple compared to other businesses because there's only two directions. There's only two things that you can do, long or short. So the vast majority of struggling traders, they're plenty smart to be successful. What they lack, though, is a belief system that is in sync with how the market works. Because a lot of the things that we're taught in real life don't really transfer very well to trading at all. And oftentimes these are the very things that are preventing us from becoming successful. Now, let me ask you this. What is the number one thing that is essential in real life that is completely backwards in trading, that doesn't transfer well to trading at all? Does anyone know what it is? Just putting out, just asking you a question. Let's see if you even know what it is. The number one thing, I would say, there are many, many other things, but this is, for me, would be number one, that in real life is really important, but in trading, it's completely backwards. Does anyone know what it is? Anyone at all? Okay. It's a four-letter word called hope. And there's another four-letter word called fear, right? In real life, when things are going against you, when you're hitting a tough patch, so to speak, going through a tough patch, what keeps us going? What makes us able to cope with the pain and maintain a positive mental attitude? What is it? It's hope, right? And again, it's a survival mechanism. Otherwise, without hope, we would probably perish as a species. But I won't go into that very much. So we need hope to deal with the challenges in life. When we're going through difficult times, we don't want to fall into depression. We need hope to keep us going. Now, let's say you win the lottery. Let's say things are going great. All of a sudden, you got this incredible thing, whatever it is, the lottery, whatever it is, this incredible car, what's the first thing that kicks in? What's the first thing that kicks in for you? For most people, the average human being, you win the lottery, first thing is, after the first 5 minutes maybe of being really happy and excited, is fear. Fear kicks in because you become afraid that you're going to lose it all, right? Am I right? So now let me actually read here. I have the book right next to me. Let me read to you a short passage from my favorite book of all time on trading. And it's reminiscences of a stock operator. And he says, I sometimes think that speculation must be an unnatural sort of business because I find that the average speculator has arrayed against him his own nature. The weaknesses that all men are prone to are fatal to success in speculation. Usually those very weaknesses that make him likable to his fellows, or that he himself particularly guards against in those other ventures of his, where they are not nearly so dangerous as when he is trading in stocks or commodities. The speculator's chief enemies are always boring from within. It is inseparable from human nature to hope and to fear. In speculation, when the market goes against you, you hope that every day will be the last day, and you lose more than you should had you not listened to hope, to the same ally that is so potent to success bringers, to empire builders and pioneers, big and little. And when the market goes your way, you become fearful that the next day will take away your profit and you get out too soon. Fear keeps you from making as much money as you ought to. The successful trader has to fight these two deep-seated instincts. He has to reverse what you might call his natural impulses. Again, he calls them natural impulses. Instead of hoping, he must fear. Instead of fearing, he must hope. He must fear that his loss may develop into a much bigger loss and hope that his profit may become a big profit. And he goes on, in more detail and talks about other things too. It's a great book, but the point is, in trading, when things are going great, what kicks in is fear of giving back profits. So we always end up, the vast majority of traders, the very, very vast majority of traders, end up what? Getting out of the trade early, a winning trade. And when the trade is going against us, what do? We start hoping, because in real life, when things are going against us, in order to carry on as a species, we need hope. It's a good thing to have hope when things are going tough, when you're going through a tough period in your life. But in trading, when the trade is going against you, if you start hoping, what would hope do to you? It would actually make you stay in a trade that's going against you, right? And you end up losing more and more and more and more, and maybe go bust. So again, most of us are probably smart enough to be traders. There's nothing wrong with us, contrary to what I thought when I started trading and I was losing money. I thought there was something wrong with me. The issue is we have wrong ideas, wrong belief systems. Our minds are predisposed to doing doing things a certain way. In trading, that doesn't work. All right, that's the main issue. Okay, now I can say all of this stuff. I'm reading the comments as I'm going here. I'm not going to read them out loud, but here's the thing. You can take what I say at face value and just say, yeah, that does, I agree with it, makes sense, or I don't agree with it, doesn't make sense. Or you can take it to heart and see how it actually applies to you. Because if it's just informational, I mean, if it's just like, you just kind of, okay, listen to what I say, and then you just move on to the next thing, which is what I think most people do, honestly, then it will have been, it'll have served no purpose at all. All right. So I think really important to listen to what I say, and see for yourself how it actually, how fear and hope and other things operate on you, in you, right? And then see if you can actually move past them and minimize their effect, their impact on your trading. He says you must reverse what you might call his natural impulses. Instead of hoping, he must fear. Instead of fearing, he must hope. Now, you can't really reverse being a human being. You can't reverse being a human being. It's hard. It's impossible. That's why when people say you have to trade like a robot, that's impossible. You're always going to be you. But can you develop enough awareness of the issues so that they don't affect your trading as much, right? So that you're constantly aware of what's going on inside of you, your stream of thoughts, basically, and feelings and emotions. All right. Okay. Trading fact number 3. Most traders, this is a little harder to accept, maybe. Most traders do not want to get out of the mess. They do not want to be consistently profitable. They want other things. Would you believe that? Yeah. Would you believe that? And that was hard for me to accept too. So what are these other things that they want? They don't want consistency. They want what? Most traders they want to win, to make money. That's what everybody wants, right? To be right, exactly, Eduardo. To be right. You'd rather be right than profitable. Most people would rather be right than profitable. Did you know that? And win or lose, everyone gets what they want from the market. A lot of us want emotional satisfaction from trading, such as excitement, thrill, fun, emotional relief. That's why people go to casinos, by the way. Why do you think? They know they're going to lose money most of the time. And the compulsive gamblers, they've been doing it for 20, 30 years, and they've been losing money every year. So why do they continue to go? Because, again, it's called compulsive for a reason. They're not really making money is not their thing. It's thrill, it's the excitement, it's the emotional relief mostly, right? So when I looked at myself, looked inside, and I thought, I always thought my number one goal is to be consistent, to achieve consistency. No, it wasn't. That's not true. That's not true. What I wanted was just the money. That's what I wanted. I could care less about consistency. Now, how do you achieve consistency? Now, I know that most of you do want to be making money on a consistent basis. So you do care about the money, but you don't care about the consistency part, right? Excuse me. So how do you achieve consistency? By doing things in a consistent basis, right? I used to be an auditor for a Big Four accounting firm. We used to say garbage in, garbage out. So you have to audit the inputs so you can be sure that the output, the financial statements, were correct. Um, so in so um, so yeah, so what I was saying is your effort, your routine on a daily basis needs to be consistent. Now, initially, if you don't have the knowledge and the education and the experience, yes, the result will be maybe consistent. You'll be consistently losing money, but at least you'll do it in a consistent basis, and then after a while, you'll be able to fix it. You'll be able to pinpoint the exact issues, the exact problems, and fix that. But if you don't do it in a consistent basis, then you'll never even get to see any profit, right? If you do it randomly. And again, most people actually do want to trade randomly because that's how they get the emotional relief and the excitement. All right. Most people, most of us, we're all biologically, instinctively wired to do that. We most of the time look for trades that make us feel right, high probability trades that perhaps have negative expectancy, or trades that make us feel good, such as buying the low, buying double bottoms and shorting double tops, because then you think, oh, I'm really smart. I got the low. the low of the day. And then what's low keeps getting lower, right? Those are the very things that don't work. All right, next thing here is, so Amber is again helping me out with the questions. All right, and some of you are saying, yeah, that totally applies to me. Okay, well, do something about it. I'm kind of discussing it for a reason. Yeah, so so you can do something about it. This is probably the most obvious one, really the easiest to see. Your attachment to money is the main cause of your failure. And let me read this quote for you. I found it in a book a few years ago, and I thought, oh, beautiful. It applies to trading more than it does to life, real life maybe. When an archer shoots for nothing, he has all his skill. If he shoots for a brass buckle, he is already nervous. If he shoots for a prize of gold, he goes blind. He's out of his mind. He sees two targets. His skill has not changed, but the prize divides him. He cares. He thinks more of winning than of shooting, and the need to win drains him of power. Chuang Tzu, Chinese sage written like 3,000 years ago. Right? The need to win, the need to be right, thinks more of winning than of shooting, more of winning than trading, right? And the outcome being attached to the prize divides him. He cares, right? It's beautiful. Think about it like this. When you're attached to a certain outcome, what's the first thing that goes out the window? Your objectivity. You don't see things as they are anymore. Your telescope goes out of focus, right? That's what happens when you're attached. And most of us are constantly checking the P&L because we're attached to the money, right? Am I right? And so attachment to the money is a big, big problem. The absolute best traders that I've met over the years couldn't care less about the money, right? Not because they didn't need it or want it, but because they didn't make it a factor in their trading, in their decision making, in what they do. Okay, so that's really, really important. Okay, any questions? So far, so good? So far, so good. And by the way, that's why it's easy to trade on a simulator. Everybody can make money on a simulator. Why? Because you're not attached to the outcome. When you're on a simulator, you're not very attached to the outcome. When you're trading real money, you're attached to the money, so you don't trade real well. I'll offer some solutions later on, so I'm not going to leave you hanging. I'll give you some things to work on if you're interested. Trading fact number 5: if you were not actively engaged in making yourself a losing trader, you would, for the most part, for most of you, you'd already be successful. And I don't think I really need to go into it, because think about it like this. When you lose, and it's inevitable that you lose in this business, what's the first thing that happens? If you're attached, if you care too much, like we discussed, you immediately get upset, right? Which means you get emotional. When you're emotional, do you see things clearly anymore? You don't. Again, easy to see why very few traders actually make it. Easy to see why a blindfolded monkey throwing darts at a newspaper's financial pages could select a portfolio that would do just as well as one carefully selected by the experts. Because there's that attachment, right? They care too much. And it's a big deal, really is. And trading is not easy, but if you're, even after you become aware of these things, but if you're trying to make it without any awareness of these psychological issues, it's almost impossible. Unfortunately, it really is impossible. That's why I don't go out of my way to recommend trading to family and friends, because I know they're not willing to put in the time and they just want an easy way to, you know, they think an easy way to make a lot of money, and so they come to me or they get in touch with me, and I just say, no, it's a better idea to stay with where you are and do what you do, continue to do what you do, because I know what they're not really that interested in it. They're not interested in trading, period. They're just interested in making money with the click of a mouse, or so they think, right? All right. Next. So let me see this question. What's the main difference between live and simulation? Do your trades actually have an influence on the market and the price behavior? No. The biggest difference, I'm not saying trading a simulator isn't technically easier. It is, because you probably always get filled, and you get filled at a good price, and you know, all of that stuff. So it's easier to trade a simulator even if you had no attachment at all. But the biggest difference between simulator trading and actual trading is the psychological element, is the emotional part, which is, you know, when you're trading your own account, your money's on the line. And if you are attached too much to the money, that's why you hear people say all the time, only trade money that you can lose, because if you can't lose it, then you're not going to be able to make money with it. So that's the biggest difference. I've never met a trader ever who couldn't make money on a simulator. I've never ever met anyone who couldn't make money on a simulator. And yet the vast majority of the traders that I have met couldn't make $100 if it was their real account. Okay. All right. Trading fact number 6: charts don't solve your problems. They transfer the bomb from under your lap to under your seat, or from your lap to under your seat. There was a story that I read about a British guy during World War II. At the end of the war, he was sitting on a bus carrying a big, heavy object, so big that it caught the bus driver's attention. And so the driver came up to him and said, "What do you have on your lap there?" And the soldier said, "Oh, it's an unexploded bomb. We dug it out and I'm taking it to the police station." Then the driver said, "You don't want to carry that on your lap. Put it under your seat," right? So that's transferring, you know, again, thinking that charts alone are going to fix your problems. They don't. You have to, the psychological part is just as important. It's actually more important. Now, don't get me wrong. You do have to be really good at reading charts. You do have to know what you're doing, right? But I don't think that's where people fail. I think most traders, I don't want to say most traders are good at reading charts, but most traders can be really good at reading charts, because it's not that hard. There's two colors, green or red, uptrend, downtrend, sideways trend. What else is there? The problem is we lack the psychological or emotional intelligence that's needed, that's required in trading. Okay. Now, how do you fix it, right? Is there a solution? Yes, there is. Let me first read this email, which I sent to a trader friend of mine, maybe 8 years ago, 9 years ago, before I even became a moderator. I said, "Hey, CC, so she was asking me, this friend of mine was asking me, how do you enable your mind to switch gears from a human being to, again, a trader?" And I said, if I were to suggest anything that would enable your mind to switch gears, it has to be this: stop doing what you know does not work. Forget about figuring out what works and just worry about what does not work. If you're not consistently profitable, you don't yet know what works. And quite frankly, what works is relative. What works for me may not work for you, so I can never tell you what works. What I can tell you is that when you stop worrying about figuring out what works, and instead focus on eliminating what you know does not work, based on your experience, of course, your trading will take a giant step forward. As the quote goes, I don't know the key to success, but the key to failure is fill in the blank and then just work on eliminating it. So that's kind of, I think, an important just thing that you can do tomorrow, starting tomorrow, is look at your trading, right? And you should already know what doesn't work. Why? Because you've always lost money doing whatever it is that you do. And the first thing to do is not to try and fix it or to try and figure out what the successful traders actually do. No, the right thing to do would be to just drop that, right? You don't do anything to become consistent and successful. You drop something. It's like health. You don't acquire health. You drop your sickness and you're healthy, or happiness. You don't acquire happiness. You drop your anxiety and tension and worry. And then what are you left with? Happiness, undiluted happiness. Now, okay, so that's kind of important. You drop what you're doing. You stop doing what you know does not work. Okay, that's the first thing. And then more tips or more solutions. Redefine success. Okay, redefine success. If being successful depends on whether or not you're making money, rather than following your plan and having a routine, uh, approaching trading in a professional way, doing what you're supposed to do on a daily basis, if being successful depends on if you make it depend on the result, the outcome, which is making money, we're ultimately in this business to make money, I understand. But if you make your being successful or make your satisfaction with yourself, with trading, dependent on the outcome, then you're going to be miserable, because we don't ever get what we want. I mean, I don't always get the results that I want, even after having become a successful trader. I don't get the results I want. So you want to redefine success so that it's more dependent on the process, dependent on your routine, again, how you approach trading, doing the right things. Does that make sense? Not the outcome. That's really important. Understand thoroughly how fear and hope cause a lot of problems. They prevent you from reading market information. We talked about this, hope and fear. Very, very important. They prevent you from reading market information objectively. They make you act on impulse rather than hard logic. And then the result of that, if you start acting on impulse, trading randomly, the result is you lose self-confidence to always act in your own best self-interest. If I know I'm going to be, I'm gonna lose self-control and I'm just gonna go crazy in my trading, guess what? Tomorrow I'm not gonna feel very confident. And without my confidence in myself, I can't make money. Even today, if I don't have my self-confidence in myself to always do the right thing, I simply can't do it, right? Can't make money and can't be successful. Number 3, accept the risk before putting on a trade. That's so simple, yet it's a step that's often overlooked. You have to accept the risk before putting on a trade and believe that this trade very easily could stop out, so that when it stops out, it's not the end of the world. Not accepting the risk is how this vicious cycle begins for most traders. Stop perceiving market information as either painful information or happy information, right? Just, it's information. Read it objectively. You can't read it objectively, right, if you're attached, if you're too attached to a certain outcome. Maintain an objective state of mind by monitoring your stream of thoughts. You can even video record your trades and go back or video record your screen, your entire screen, and go back and see what you did, where you did it, and see why. I used to do things that after the close would baffle me. I would say, why in the world did I do that? Why did I get in here or get out there? No reason at all, almost, right? There were reasons, and that's because I was psychologically messed up as a trader. As a trader, psychologically was messed up. And number 6 is know that most of your losses are the result of your attitude. Truly, truly. If you've taken the education, the professional education, education such as the one that we offer at T3, then most of the time, and you know what you're doing, and most of the time, the result, your losses are the result of your mental state or state of mind or psychological development, so to speak.
Do you want to get rich quick stock trading scheme? Well, then look elsewhere. Want unsexy but proven tips from a professional trader? Well, then I'm your guy. I'm sharing these trading methods for free in my ebook, Unsexy Trend Analysis Secrets that generate beautiful profits. This book is focused entirely on the same trading strategies that I use and refine every single trading day. Now, I'm not promising that these methods will make you an overnight millionaire, of course, but they are the foundational skills behind my many years of success and have benefited the countless students that I've shared them with. I can't wait to share my methods with you, and I know I will be hearing from you soon. Hit that link now.